Okay, in today's video, we're going to look at how to use PureData to edit the Waldorf Blofeld synthesizer. We already have this done where we can change cutoff and resonance. We also have a MIDI monitor right here so we can track incoming controllers. And for instance, right now I'm looking at Blofeld, and I'm on the filter one, page one, and I'm adjusting key track and envelope velocity. So you can see right here the controller changes. For key track, it's controller 72, and for envelope velocity 74. So key track, envelope velocity, key track, envelope velocity, and this shows you the values. So what we're going to do is we're going to start putting these together with a UI. Okay, we're going to get started on the GUI, and the goal for today is to map all of the filter one, all pages on filter one. We're going to run into some problems with system exclusive, and that's where I want to spend a significant amount of time. I want to go to page 2, and I'm going to adjust the mod amount, and it does what you expect, and we're on controller number 75. But if I change mod source, there is nothing. Okay, and that's because mod source is a system exclusive parameter that and system exclusive has to be handled differently. Okay, so let's get started. And the first thing we want to do, this is, if you followed along with my last video, you should have something like this. I did not cover making canvases. And so that's one of the first things that we're going to do today, because we're going to be focusing on creating a UI and linking the UI with these settings. I like to keep UIs apart from the actual controllers and the actual program. I like to keep them separate. It's just a way to keep all these cables from going anywhere, and you keep everything kind of compartmentalized. If something is going wrong, if the program's not working properly, then you can open a subpatch. There's another concept we're going to cover. One of the first things we'll do will be subpatching, and I'll show you how to do that. But the subpatch is, if there's something not working properly, then you go to the subpatch, and then you go to the UI and you open that up to make any adjustments from there. But you keep them both linked, and if you save them as separate modules, and in PureData lingo we call those abstractions. An abstraction is a separate PureData file that you open from inside another PureData file. And if you name everything correctly, you have to have a $0 dash, whatever you want to call it. What that does is that assigns a unique name to whatever that object is, and you can send, receive, and it keeps that separate from the rest of the PureData patch. Okay, so you can load as many of the same abstractions as you want, and they will all do the same identical thing, and you can go in there, you can modify it, but you always have to save them as separate files. Once you save an abstraction under the same file name as another abstraction, then it changes that abstraction for every instance that you use it. You could write 100 different PureData programs, and the abstractions will always be the same, which is nifty if you want to update something, if you want to improve something, then that means every program that uses that will have the updated version. So that's kind of cool. So we'll get into that. We'll definitely make use of abstractions fairly heavily. So the first thing we want to do is, if you don't have this, or if you don't have to have it, but if you go to repo, the GitHub repo, which is it's in the first post. I've got all that down. You can just link to there. You'll find this file. You can just click on the link and download this file. And so if you want to start here, that's great. And the difference between what you see here and what was on the video is this has been kind of organized and kind of straightened up. This is the way I like to organize things. There's among PureData users, there's kind of an etiquette. There are some rules and conventions for how they like to set things up. This is just what works for me. And in my own personal stuff that I don't, if I don't care that anybody else is going to be using it, I have spider webs everywhere. If it's like a one-time thing and I'm just trying to do something quick, then it just looks like spider webs. I don't care because, I'm not going to go back and fix it because I'm perfect and I get everything right the first time. Ha, ha, ha. So, no, I do make mistakes and I might catch a few mistakes as I go. But the first thing we want to do is let's go ahead and save this as a new file. And here is my PureData folder. And as you can see, I've got backups. And so I've made some attempts at taking the next step so I can make a better video. Here is where I'm going to save everything. So let's save this as Blofeld PureData Editor. And we'll go to, and I'm just going to give it an A. Because I may make a few different versions of this before I put it on the repo. So saving that. Now, first thing we want to do is we want to make subpatches. Okay, we want to keep the sequencer. We want to keep this. This might be useful, or I may decide to delete it. But for the time being, I want to hang on to it. So I'm going to make a few subpatches to kind of clean up this work area and give me the space to move around in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And I'm done. So now my sequencer is contained within the subpatch, and filter one frequency resonance is stored in another subpatch. I'm going to put these over to the side for now. Later on, we will look at the sequencer really in depth. There are some things that need to happen before we can do more work on the sequencer. Basically, the sequencer needs a complete rewrite because while this sequencer that we've got is good for learning some concepts like messages and routing and those kinds of things, that's good. But what we really want is we want to do more with less code. There's a lot of stuff in the sequencer that's actually not necessary. Counters are a common occurrence. Okay. Why build counters like this when it's kind of redundant, when what you can do is this? Or not. Let's see. There is a counter, and I just need to find it. Externals, else. Count, not counter. Okay. Okay, and if you've installed vanilla PureData, you're not going to have that. And why not? Because else is an external library. We will get into doing externals later. But for now, let's set this up. Else count, and that. Yeah, so we have a counter here that will do the same thing as this. In fact, we could go ahead, if we wanted to, we could cut all of this out and just replace it with that. And this is actually itself is an abstraction. Okay, and this will tell you more about what's going on in here. But we will look at the else library before the end of this tutorial. All right, so we'll get rid of that for now. So we have all this in here. We'll not skip ahead. So that was an example of an abstraction. And more on abstractions later. All right, so let's clear out our workspace. We don't need this. All right, and so we've got some subpatches that will be helpful later, and we want to keep on going with our subpatching. And let's make one more subpatch, and we're going to call it MIDI monitor. And there we go. We've got a MIDI monitor now, and this will monitor almost everything coming into PureData. Now, there is one thing that we are missing, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. We're going to explore monitoring system-exclusive data. Is we're going to create a system-exclusive monitor. And to do that, we're going to start with system exclusive in. And we've got two outlets from there. Now, I'm looking on the Blofeld Filter 1, page 2, and mod source. Notice that mod source does not come in at control N. Mod amount does, but not mod source. So that tells you that it's a system exclusive. So we're going to put a number atom here, and it gives us a 247. Now, the way this works, all the numbers in the message are going to go. There's more than one number. There's like a device ID, some other bytes that point to where it's supposed to go, and then you finally have the value of the parameter that's getting changed, and then the 247 just kind of closes it out. So let's look and see what the actual message looks like. And to do that, we're going to send a message, add to, and the $1 is what's coming in here, and another message, and there you go. You're seeing all the different exclusive messages that are coming in. So I want to resize this so you can see a list of each individual message like that. Well, we don't want all of these. We just need one, because what we're going to do is we're going to analyze these messages and look for the numbers that change. We're going to replace that with the $1, and we can feed that straight back into the Blofeld from the Blofeld editor in PureData. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, you got to do a couple of things. First of all, to clear this out, you need to do a set. All right, so the set will erase everything in there. Now we're back to being clean. How do we know when to set? Well, let's take a look one more time at the message. We know that the first number is a 240. All right, so we're going to be looking for 240. And whenever the number 240 comes through here, it's going to set it, completely erase everything. The next thing we need to do is actually bring the message in. Oh, wait. It's not an object, it's a message. All right, add to $1. All right, and that has to happen next. Now, this has to happen first. This happens next. And then we're going to have something else after that. We need to know when the end of the message happens. Select. And we know that the last byte is 247. Tells us that's the end of the message. It doesn't do much good to try to set that up here. What we could do 240, 247, and have this bang this when it gets done, except it's not going to happen. To make it go at the right time in the right order, we need to sequence these. All right, so we're going to use a trigger, or T for short, and we're going to send all of these as floats, and we're going to send it 3 times. The order of everything, the order of the flow of PureData is, what makes it work right. So the first thing that's going to happen is the number 240 is going to come in. See, 240, it's going to come in. And this is going to notice that it says 240, and it's going to send set, and it's going to clear that. The next thing that's going to happen is it's going to add to here. That's going to write the message. And the last thing that happens, okay, right here, a 247 is going to come through and end up here, and there it is at the end. And then this is going to say next. It's looking for that 247, and as soon as that 247 arrives and is written here, it's going to send it out, and presumably it would send it out to the Blofeld, but it's not going anywhere at the moment. So we're going to put a list here. It's the shortcut for that is Command 4. And if this is set up correctly, it will work. And what I'm doing is, what am I doing? Making everything, I'm decluttering. I like to keep things, I like to keep all my objects a certain distance from each other. Those, we can straighten those up. To straighten them up, Shift, Command, R. And there we go. I don't like my food touching. There. Yeah, I don't like my food to touch. I'm one of those guys, okay? But no, I don't like everything touching because it's nice to be able to see the routing of everything. So now we're going to change mod source. And not only is it arriving here at the message, but it's also coming out here as a list object. And why is that important? Because you can take this in a monitor subpatch and have it worked out where you can copy paste things. So that's always very handy. So now, at this point, you have a complete monitor subpatch. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this and convert it to a UI. Okay, so I've come out of my Blofeld monitor subpatch, and what we want to do is we want to take this Blofeld monitor subpatch, and we want to be able to design a user interface for it. So I've got everything here. This is the program. Okay, but then you have to look at it. I've moved everything down here for that. And then you have to look through all this with all these cables and things, but it doesn't have the same comfortable look and feel of a UI. So for now, I need to break from creating this program, and let's make some tools that will make our jobs easier for making a user interface. So I want to create something. I want to call it a canvas designer. Now, what's a canvas? A canvas is just a background. Okay, so I want to go Shift Control C, and I have a nice little gray canvas here. And I want to resize it. I want to size it to 500 by 500. That's not too ridiculous. And I want to give it a black background. Doesn't have to be black, but arbitrarily I'm choosing a black background. And what I want to do is, for the time being, I'm going to use this as I want to use this as just kind of a place for me to build some things. For things that have a light gray or other color background, sometimes it's hard to see things visually. So if I start with like a black canvas, sometimes that's helpful. Now, the way this is set up, let's go back to this canvas. I picked 500 by 500. What if I'm not sure what the size of my canvas actually needs to be? All right. If there's some question as to the size of the canvas, I need a way to be able to resize it and resize it in real time to to resize it kind of on the fly. So I want to put another canvas on top of it. You can put canvases on canvases on canvases. All right, and here we've got a gray canvas, and I'm going to I want to change it to a different color. Let's just start with, I don't want to keep it this color, but let's just do this kind of blue-green color here. All right, and what I want to do is I want to give this, I want to give it a name. Let's name it Bob. No, I'm kidding. It is possible to send messages to a canvas. Okay, and so I'm going to put a receive symbol here. Now, I can send a message to change the size. All right, so we only have 2 parameters here for changing the size. And one of them is going to be width. And I'm not going to stop with just putting a label here. This is going to be part of a GUI. So we want to have a receive symbol. And why do I start with a $0? Because I did that over here too. Oh, that means you can save this as an abstraction, or you can save it within an abstraction, and it will only affect whatever is inside that abstraction. It won't affect anything else with the same name. So we're going to receive from another GUI element. All right, so width 0. I think I want the label on top. Okay, so now we've set up our number. Yeah, we've got our number atoms here for width. And we're going to copy paste. And properties, I'm going to change this to height, width, and height. Now we're going to send from something. Now, if I want a UI element, the best option to go with is the number 2 atom. And that's Shift Command N. All right, now I've got one of these. Now I want to do the same thing. Copy. And we're going to send from here. And we're going to start initialized. So whatever it was that the last time you saved it, it's going to send that next time. So we'll call this width. And why not dress it up? We got kind of a bright color, so we need a bright color against a dark color. So background, we'll make it black. Front, green. And label, we'll make it white. Okay. Oh, no. What happened? It went away. It didn't go away. It's still there. See? Okay, so not ideal. We need a dark color. I think I'll change this right now. So it's blue, compose color, and we'll just make it a darker. There we go. See how that works? And we have that. Okay, so width, if we got one for width, we need one for height. Copy, paste. And I'm going to move this up here. I'm not worried about running out of room just yet because we're going to fix this. Properties. Nah, leave it alone. Oh, wait. Don't leave it alone. There. Much better. This is going to work. Now, I should be able to change the numbers in here and it show up here also. Cool, right? Now, so these have to go somewhere. And we're going to send this as a message. We're going to send this as a message to the canvas. All right, and to do that, we need to pack them into a single message. Pack, float, float. Now, anytime this happens, you need to do a trigger. And what are we triggering? Well, the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to send the float from here. And then we're going to send everything that's in here out to a message. And this needs to go too. Now, whatever goes in here, anytime you change this first number for the first inlet, it sends the entire message. It doesn't do that here. So that's why you have to have this trigger and you have to sequence what comes out. So sequencing is very important. You're going to encounter that often in PureData. And try not to make a mess. Okay, that'll give us a little bit of room there. Maybe not. Okay, so now we've packed it into a single message. And we're going to send it to this canvas. So let's make the message to tell it to go to the canvas. And it's going to be the visual size, and it's going to unpack these two parameters here. Okay, and now to send it, okay, object S, that's a send object. And there's the receive symbol. And we'll put that here. And we're done. Now let's go ahead and send width and height. Notice it's just kind of a one line kind of thing here, right? Now look at that. We now have a canvas designer. And that's exactly what I intend to call it. We're going to call this Blofeld Canvas Designer. Let's see. Yeah, maybe about like that. And let's pull these down here. And what I want to do, we're going to make a label for our canvas. And there we go, Blofeld Canvas Designer. And now what I want to do is I would like to have this permanently or semi-permanently attached to a canvas so that we can pull this out and use it anytime we want. So let's do that. Let's have a canvas. And we're going to give it the same receive symbol. But notice this, I want to cut it from here. So now no matter what, this does not affect that. I mean, well, this doesn't affect this. All right. So properties, receive. And now we have a GUI element that changes the size of our canvases. This will save a lot of time. I didn't know that trick for a long time. And what I would try to do is I would try to just go back and forth by hand and just punch in the numbers. It would take forever just to design one of these. And this will save a ton of time. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to subpatch it. And let's just subpatch the whole thing. All right, I'm going to move all of this to the side. And did you see what happened? I didn't select everything, and so some things were kind of moving around. Well, we can't really have that. So what we're going to do is we're going to subpatch this. Not that. Object PD, and we'll call it Canvas Designer. We're going to grab all of these here. Cut, paste. All right, so we've cut and paste everything into our subpatch, but why stop there? We went to all this trouble to make a UI for our Canvas Designer. Let's go one more step and make it to where we don't have to open this every single time we want to use it. We can go right-click Properties, and we're going to go Graph on Parent. And we want the size of this to match the size of that, which we know 266 by 120, I think. Let's double check. Nah, I was wrong. I don't know why this. Anyway, it does. Oh yeah, because I was worried about that. Okay, this applies to that canvas, not to that canvas. So 192 by 94. Now we're going to add 2 to everything to give ourselves a little bit of space. 194 by 96. And why did I do that? I did that to make sure everything would fit in here, and you'll see why as soon as I get done here. Very nice. And we are good. Our subpatch is now complete. I'm going to exit from there. And I'm going to put this over here in subpatch land. I think it'll be very happy right here. All right, so we're going to hang on to the big black square for a little while longer. It might come in handy. Okay, if we can create a UI for our canvas designer, and yeah, designer like it's having to design a lot, it's just width and height. But this is a convenience. This helps us do our job a little bit faster. And you can drop these into abstractions. And when you do that, it won't affect anything here. So what we want to do, if we can do that for this, we can certainly do it for our monitor. So if we're going to use a Blofeld monitor, let's take care of some little housekeeping here. This needs to stay the same. This is just fine. We like it. Right now, the way it's working is it's a kind of like a MIDI through. And if I've got an external device that is sending controllers, and those controllers are going to go to the Blofeld, then you're going to need some kind of through. All right, and that works here. If we're just worried about editing the Blofeld from the computer without any other controllers, then we don't really need any throughs. So we're going to leave this node in and through the way it is, because we do need to route a controller. We do need to route a controller to the Blofeld. But here, the control in, unless it's mod wheel, I suppose that would be like one of the few that you need to do. But yeah, I guess we'll leave it. I guess we'll leave it as a through. But we're going to have to make some modifications. All right, just like you saw that we have UI elements like these special number atoms here. The same thing's going to happen here. So let's go ahead and prepare this to take input from a UI. And to do that, first of all, I'm going to leave bend out alone because we don't have a use for that. All right, but let's cut and paste. And what that does is that disconnects anything that was here. In fact, specifying a MIDI channel there is kind of redundant. So let's get rid of that also. And that's not lined up the way I like it either. Okay. And I'm going to take these, I'm going to bring these down, create a little bit of space. And why am I doing that? Just to kind of show what it is I'm doing. So note in, well, we're not doing anything with, oh, my mistake. No, I need it detached. It has to be detached. Because like I said, we're going to create a UI monitor for this, which means that these are going to send to something. It's going to send to something. When that happens, it's going to break these connections. We don't need MIDI. We're not monitoring monitoring MIDI channel. So that can stay. This can stay. But it's this right here that's going to be a little bit off. Well, why not just be consistent? Do everything the same way. And I'll show you how I intend to get around that. Okay, so let's these are going to send to something. Now, I'm not going to create an abstraction of the MIDI monitor. It's just going to exist as a subpatch. So we're going to send to note in. And I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to add the number 2. There's a number and a number 2, and this one is better for it's better for UIs. Properties, and we're going to label it note. And it's going to receive note in. And we're going to do the same thing for control. Well, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Note should be note velocity. I don't like how I did this. I want to change this real quick. Note in note. Note in note. Done. So whatever note comes in will come here. And so we're just going to pretend. All right. And if I'm playing a keyboard, it's going to show up here, not just up here. And we're going to do the same thing for control. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but I got these out of order. So we will switch them like that. There we go. So the first one is the actual value, and the other one is that. Now, does it work from the Blofeld? There it is. Okay, now we don't have any notes coming in right now, and we don't have anything else to worry about like this. So, there we go. And let's just go ahead and turn this into a through. And we're taking note in and going directly to note out. And this is not actually necessary. It's only necessary for like mod wheel. That's the only external control that we would ever use, and I'm not using it at the moment. Anything that comes straight out of the Blofeld is going to create a kind of a feedback loop. It just means it just sends it sends it to itself. And I guess if there's a way you could do local on and off, that would put a stop to that. Okay, so here we have everything we need for our UI right here. So I'm going to, the UI is going to be external to the subpatch. So we're going to cut and paste. And we're going to put that right there. So now we have UI elements for note velocity, controller and controller value. What about exclusive? So we need something for that too. And real easy, properties, and we're going to send now. There's not really a UI element for lists. And that means that we have to create one. See this, if I click off of this, then it's going to completely vanish. Well, that's not what we want. And so we're going to come over here with our canvas designer. And I want to copy this and paste it here. Drop that in. And I don't know if you noticed what I did there, but I took the because I created the canvas after that, the canvas covered it up. So you can use a canvas to mask something. You can have stuff behind it doing all the work that's covered up with a canvas. So no problem. So now we want to take this and we want to adjust it to where this fits within that canvas. Like that. And now we're going to adjust the size of the canvas. And by the way, whatever I do here is going to affect this also. There. And this right here is just the visible rectangle for the canvas. If you get away from, well, that needs to, that shouldn't be like that. There. Okay, and I just shrunk the rectangle down a little bit. That's all I did. So now I have a UI element for system exclusive messages. And let's check and make sure it works. And it doesn't. Why does it not work? Well, we know why it doesn't. Because you have to receive. And there you go. See how easy that is? And we're going to change. We're going to change the canvas color. Not the GUI box, but the. Maybe let's change this to 10 instead. There we go. And that makes the canvas easier to grab. It was set at 19 and I just shrunk it down a little bit. But that also makes it harder to deal with. So we're going to make it back to a white background. And because we're finished with it, we can delete this. And voila, we have something that matches everything else. Let's go ahead and label this. There. Now we're in good shape. And the last thing we want to do is we want to make a canvas that we can put all of this on top of to, to make it a little bit more visually appealing. So we want to come back in here, open our Subpatch, copy, and notice that it's smaller now, and paste. And I think I don't want it to be just overly sized, but let's just go ahead and make it bigger. And we want to take all of these and drop them right in. Now we can't do that yet, but now we can. All right, we'll go right about there. I think that's I think that's nice, and we're going to add a label. And I accidentally got rid of this, and that's important to me. For the time being, that's kind of important. I don't like, I don't know, I don't just, maybe right there. I think that'll be good. I like it. So we're going to go with that. And let's subpatch it. I like the size that it is, so we can go ahead and get rid of this. And we want the subpatch to be the same size as that. And remember, you always have to go two bigger. So 285, 181. Um, Perfect fit. And close. There we go. And that's possibility of what our MIDI input monitor subpatch will look like. Let's test it out. There's system exclusive and there's controller. Now we don't have any notes coming in without, because I don't have a keyboard plugged in right now. But if I did and I played on it, then it would show some stuff here. All right, we're going to move this subpatch back here and we're going to move on to our next task. And the next thing we get to do is we get to design our first abstraction. And we're going to call the abstraction Blofeld module. And we're just going to call it, we're going to give it a generic name and a lot of generic settings because this is something we want to be able to copy and reuse. It needs to be reusable. because we don't really know what all we're going to we don't know what all we're going to encounter as we're building this. Some parts might be easy, some parts might be just downright dirty and complicated. So that will be our next topic, and we get started just shortly. Okay, for the next phase of this editor, we need a reusable module a reusable module, and this is going to take the form of a not just a subpatch, but it's going to be an abstraction. An abstraction is just a Blofeld. It's a pure data file that is opened from within another pure data file. So Command N new and save here, and we're going to call this Blofeld module. All right, so we need to put some things in here. For one, we need this canvas designer. And we need the MIDI input monitor. All right, we need both of those things. What is the MIDI monitor for? Well, when we start assigning controllers and exclusive to parts of the module, then we have this as a point of reference. I want to make a couple of changes right off the bat. I want to copy this and not that. I don't really need the canvas. Copy, paste. All right. And this just gives us a way to copy things out of here into a message. In fact, we can take that a step further. Let's see, let's see if this works. No, it does not work the way I thought it would. That's okay, though. You can still copy and go in edit mode, paste. So you can paste your messages this way, and since you know which one is the important one, the one that changes, now you have that. Okay, and you can use that to create your modules where you're transmitting exclusive messages. All right, so we've got that done. Okay, so here we have that. Let's get out of there. Okay. So here's your monitor and here's your canvas designer. Let's go ahead and grab this canvas and put it out here. we'll put it, I don't know, just arbitrarily, we'll stick it right there. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's look at filter 1, page 1. And you've got two parameters here. You've got key track and you've got envelope velocity. All right. So that tells us what we'll do for our first module is we're going to have two parameters. And it's going to be like that probably for most pages. Let's go ahead and give this a label. And right now, we want to make it generic. And it's going to be a module that doesn't do anything specifically, but just has, just has the essentials. Okay, so we're going to have let's put some horizontal sliders in here. All right, there's one. And there's two. We'll line these up. All right. And I don't know if that's the right size that I want necessarily, but it's nice to keep everything, kind of big. And I want to be able to reset these to some kind of default value. Okay, and so we're going to put some bang buttons in here. All right. And let's go ahead and start working on these. This one, we're going to send somewhere. And where are we going to send it? And by the way, I like to initialize. Send, where shall we send it? How about this? Okay, so we're going to send it to something called Blofeld Module 1. Now, we want to be able to reset this to a default value. So receive 0, and we'll do the same thing. And we'll put reset here. And of course, let's just get rid of that. Okay, so we got two of them. They're identical. One of them goes to module 1, so this one will go to module 2, and this one will go to module 2 reset. All right. Label. Okay. So the bang buttons do not send a value. You do have a toggle switch that will send values that you can set. You can set what values you want to send, but that doesn't really work as well for us right now. So these reset buttons, we're going to have to send a message somewhere with those. So now let's just say that our default value is going to be 0. And a lot of times it will be. Sometimes it'll be something else other than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to send a message 64, and that will put it right in the middle of something. And where are we sending this message to? Send, and we're going to send it to module 1, reset. And we want it associated with this reset button. I really want it at 0, but I'm keeping it 64 right now just to kind of demonstrate something. And right now it's sending the same thing, so we want to make sure we change this to module 2, reset. And just for fun, we can line these up this way. And if I needed to, I could separate it out like that to see what goes where. But I don't really like things crossing up like that. So since this is not just really that important, I want to kind of leave that alone. So module 1 right now is set to 0. And I'm just going to put it there, and it should reset right smack in the middle. Now, if I want to reset that to 0, I can change the default setting here, and that drops it to 0. All right, and do I want... I'm trying to think how I should size this. So I think I'm going to set it... I don't think I want it quite that big. Maybe more like about right there, and then bring this back to maybe something like that. And it still leaves everything kind of spread out. There's still room. If I want to put something in here for exclusive, I can drop it in there. So I think I am going to select all of this and just kind of move it to the side just a little bit. There we go. All right, now this is only half of it. This is just the user interface part. So all of this is really kind of superfluous. We don't really need that, but we do need the we do need to turn this into a UI. So what I want to do is I'm going to leave the input monitor here. And we're going to put our code for how it behaves in a separate subpatch. And so we'll, I want to move this over here. Make sure. Okay. All right, so let's do a subpatch. PD. And we're going to set this where we can see it. So here's width and height. Those are our settings. We're going to change this to graph on parent to 74 by 156. And select all. And drop it right there. And we're going to close this. I'm going to move this over here. So, and we're going to keep this here in case when we make future modules, if we need to resize to something else, we can. But pretty much this is going to be what we want. All right, Blofeld module. Now, the thing that we don't have is what the module's going to be affecting. So let's figure out. We're going to do key track and envelope velocity. So we're going to open this and we're going to copy these. Copy. And we're going to paste it right here. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these, instead of like this, I'm going to put them side by side. All right. Now we have them side by side. Okay, so I've got these side by side, and we have to make them go somewhere. All right, so the first thing we want to do is these do not output integers; they output floats. Now, I pretty much only deal with floats, but sometimes it helps to use an integer like that. So we're going to convert to an integer just to kind of make things a little bit more convenient. Now we're going to have a message here. The message is going to Well, this is going to be how we send to control out. All right. So what am I doing? I want to do key track. And so key track 72. Okay. And the $1 is going to be the value right here in 72 is the controller number. And we want to make sure we send it to a MIDI channel. And so we'll put 1 by default. And the last step is, CTL out. Copy and paste. And for envelope velocity, the controller number is 74. And we change that. And if I look over on the Blofeld, module 1 says key track. And it's in a range between -200 and 196. And of course, right in the middle is 0. And it works that way on both sides. So here we're going to want our default to be 0. Not 0. We want our default to be 64. So open up the module. Well, you know what? We'll change it later. Let's leave it for 0. Let's leave it at 0 for the time being. And we're going to put this in a separate subpatch. And so anytime we need to come in here and add or delete something or just change numbers, then we're good to go. Why? Because. Okay. So we're leaving this kind of as is for right now. Let's go ahead, because it is a module. Let's go ahead and make it a UI. And I'm looking at the graph on parent for this. I want to make one. Oh, whoops. Let's get that out of the way for now. We're going to make this fit in that. So 276, 158. 276. by 158. Select all. Too big. Perfect. And then put that there. And save. And close. Okay, and it's gone forever, except it's not. So when we want to bring our abstraction into the program that we're making, or the patch that we're making, there. Doesn't look quite right, does it? I guess I was right the first time, but it looked kind of suspicious. There we go. So we have a generic Blofeld module, and what it does is it controls, right now, the way it's set up, it controls filter 1, page 1, which you can, actually, it's not doing anything. Why is it not doing anything? Sometimes it just gets weirder and weirder. Let's find out why it's not working. Because it's not working. And I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. All right, so I go here in the module parameters and it does work, but it's not connecting here. So that tells me that I didn't set this up correctly. See, I didn't. So we want to get rid of that. Yeah, it should have been like the first thing I did. And do the same thing here. Close. And when you make changes, I don't need help. Open. When you make a change to a module, you can save the module without necessarily saving the entire file. So I want to close that, and it's still here. And what should happen is I should be able to make another one. All right, so I loaded in another one. The same thing, but it's actually a copy of it. And I'm checking in to make sure that it's saved. And it did save. Because I saved it here like that, now it's going to overwrite all of them. If you want to make changes, this is the important part. If you want to make changes to an abstraction, and you don't want those changes applied to every single instance of that abstraction across all PureData patches forever, then you have to save it with a different file name. And that's been kind of a headache for me. So instead of doing it that way, what I would rather do is go into the file folder and make however many copies of them that I think I'm going to use. All right. And so we're going to take a pause for now. And when I come back, we're going to make modules for each page in the filter section. All right, so the next task I'm going to do is, just because I'm paranoid, I don't want to do a lot of creating modules right here and saving them, because it's easy to get confused and save things as the wrong thing, and then undo your work and try to figure out where everything went wrong. So what I want to do to start with, I want to look here, and this is my folder where I'm keeping everything. Here's the main, PureData patch right here, and this is the module that I've created. What I want to do is I want to duplicate that, and I want to call this Blofeld Filter filter 1 _ 1 for page 1. Now, because I designed this generic module for the filter settings, all I got to do is just change around, like, some names of stuff just on the UI. That's all I have to do. Real simple. Now I can do some other things so that, like, hey, we're definitely working with filter 1.1, but we don't really, all we're worried about is what it looks like right here. The inside nuts and bolts, under the hood kinds of things, we're not really worried about. So let's make another copy of that, and we're going to call that filter 1.2. All right. So we've got filter 1.1 and filter 1.2. Now, filter 1.2 is a special case because it introduces some exclusive data that has to be dealt with. And it's not like you can't take the slider and, the slider is going to send the right numbers out to wherever they're supposed to go. The problem, though, is if you look at page 2 on the Blofeld, you have mod source and mod amount, and mod source has a list of the different sources. So how do we know what source we're dealing with in PureData? Well, you got to create a list, and you got to have PureData let you select from that list. As you scroll through, you can use this. Okay, you can still use the slider to scroll through the list, but you need to know the name of the mod source, and we're going to drop that right here. So this will be module 1 will be mod source, and then underneath it right here we'll put the name of what that the name of that source. Okay, so we've got these two, and I don't want to go on just yet because I don't want to duplicate any more of these for new pages, because if I find there's something I'm going to reuse, I want to make a separate module. So right now I've got Blofeld module, but I could also do Blofeld module with list. Since we see it coming, you know what? Since we can see it coming, we know it's coming. So let's just go ahead with list. All right, so we got Blofeld module with list, which we haven't made yet. Well, actually, never mind. We'll come back to that. Let's work on Blofeld filter, filter page 1.1 and finish up our work here. So it's already here, and we're going to open and open. Edit. And we're going to call this filter 1.1. And I'm going to use a dash here. It doesn't matter. Sometimes underscore is necessary. Underscores in PureData are necessary, like for file names and like symbols and things like that. You've got to have it. It doesn't like PureData does not like spaces in anything. So you end up using underscore a lot. But in this case, we'll do filter space 1-1. Anything can go in a label. It doesn't really matter, what that looks like. So filter 1.1, and we're going to edit these. In module 1, we're going to replace that. We're going to replace that with key track. In module 2, we're going to replace with envelope velocity. And I'm working to make everything look as much like PureData as possible. Okay, and these do have a 0 value, right? And they're bipolar, so you can have positive and you can have negative. And for the time being, I'm not going to display those. If I wanted to, easily could, but you'll see why I do that. You'll see more of that in the next module when I get to the making a list. So we're going to set that to 64. And by doing that, actually, this is kind of dangerous. Okay, because what's going to ask me to do is like ask me if I want to discard changes. That's not. It's kind of worrying me. Let's delete it. Yeah, I'm afraid I did something unfortunate. No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. I panicked for nothing, but sometimes it's better to check and make sure everything is okay before moving on. There. Okay. So I've got to backtrack and do this again, but it's not really that big a deal. There. And these need to be set to 64. Looks good here. And if I want to zero this setting out, I can hit reset. And key track and envelope velocity are at 0. And I can move like that, there, whatever. Or reset. Piece of cake. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on and do filter 1, page 2. And I could copy and paste, but I want, like I said, I want to be careful. In fact, before I do that, let's say I want to play it really safe. And just there's no possibility of messing this up. So Blofeld module with list. Okay. So we're going to take the module that we already have, and we're going to modify it by adding a list. Now, so we're going to modify this by adding a list to it. And so let's go ahead and set up in the UI how we want to do that. So what we need to do is we need to make a little bit of room in here. That should be enough. And we're going to put a symbol in here. Now, you'll notice that the symbol, first of all, I'm not sure that, let's make sure it's big enough. Properties, yeah, we don't know what a width of 10, that will be fine. Notice that there's no background. There's no background canvas in here. Let's see about that. I happen to have a canvas right here inside the MIDI input monitor that will work. It just needs a little bit of adjustment. So we'll open that. And we're going to copy. We're just going to copy that background. That's all we're going to do. And paste right there. Now, see, you could use the Canvas designer to adjust it. And I'm just going to write temp here. Or, better yet, I would just do it that way. I changed my mind. Receive, boom. Let me check one thing. All right, so yeah, here's the receive symbol is here. I like that, so I'm going to get rid of it. And now we're going to adjust the size of this canvas to fit. There. Done. And this thing needs a label. Not that thing, this thing needs a label. And we're going to label it text. Or list. Let's just do list. Not that list. Great composer though. All right, and we'll leave it like that. That'll be fine. Fact. Maybe we'll squish that up there a little bit. Keep these separated so we know which, what goes with what. All right, and the list itself is going to receive from something. And the receive symbol we're going to do text. And we'll copy that. And it's going to receive from something. This isn't actually going to control anything. So we'll need to we need to receive from something, and so that something is going to be another symbol. Actually, let's just copy this. Let's just copy this whole thing. Copy. And module params. And we're going to drop that right here. Technically, we don't even really need that there, because we're not worried about it being on a background or anything. Okay, so list is going to go to exclusive out. And let's go ahead and there it goes. And we're going to change this from receive to send. Okay, so this is, just checking. Okay, so if we're going to do text, there are some things, there's some extra steps we need to take. So I want to take this, and I'm going to move all of this down. Now we're dealing with system exclusive right now, and so, and since I'm making a Blofeld module with lists, and it's going to be kind of a generic module right now, I want to switch over to filter 1, page 2, and I want to look at my input monitor where the system exclusive is already coming in, and I already have this here, and it's already set up from earlier. So I'm going to just copy and paste. And this is going to replace that. So we've got an int coming in. And we want to change this to system exclusive. What did I do wrong? No, because I forgot. There is no exclusive out. It's just plain old MIDI out. There it goes. Yeah, because there's no such thing as that. Now let's drop this here and line it up. All right, module 2, and is going to send out here. Okay, so one of the problems we're going to have is there's not going to be 128 parameters for everything, or 128 values for everything. So let's find out at most how far this is going to go. So it goes from 0 to 30. Let's go ahead and limit this. Actually, I've got this backwards. This should be over there. Well, I'll fix it in a little while. I don't care to fix it right now. No, I think I have to fix it now. Easy fix. There, I should have been working on the other side the whole time, because it's going to be module 1 that handles all the exclusive heavy lifting. So this will keep us consistent. All right, so this goes here, and that sends exclusive out. And module 1 properties, upper limit's going to be 30. I'm not, it just disappeared. I'm not sure where it went. Okay, there it is. I don't know what happened. Weird. All right, so we'll leave enough room to work right here. And so this should be 30, yes. And if you are following along and you move this, and you'll notice that the mod source is changing now. All right, now let's go to the Blofeld module. Oops. Open. And let's make sure we have the same constraints here. Property upper 30. And watch what happens. Okay, same thing. It's changing, going all the way from off to maximum on the Blofeld. All right, and now how do we know what it is we need? Like I said, we need a list. So I'm going to grab everything and just pull it down a little bit, because we need something. We need to add something up here. And what we got to do is we've got to come up with a list of all of our mod source names. And the way you do that is like this: use a text. And there you go. Text define. The negative or the minus K, that's a flag. It means it just saves it. That's all it does. And we're going to put all of our names of stuff in here. This might take a minute. All right, and should be enough to go from 0 to 30. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. All right, perfect. And that should match. And I'm going to, so when working with a little text thing here, make sure you save. And it's stored here. Okay, so now that you've stored it, you've got to get it back. So there are a couple of steps involved. First of all, we've got to retrieve the line of that list to get it to display somewhere. Okay, we've got to get it from here into here. And we're going to send everything from here. So this will be easy. So we'll start. We need a trigger. And we're going to have a bang because we're going to send it. And then we're going to have a number come in. F, there. So we're going to have a trigger. Because why am I doing that? Because I can see already what's going to happen. All right. It's going to send a number. And it's going to be the number of the line. So we're going to send a message. It's going to send a symbol, and the symbol is line, and then the actual number. And now, and we're going to also send a message. We're going to bang the message step to, and what step will do is that's what actually sends it. Sends it to the UI. All right, so step, line, and then step. Now, here is the object for that. Okay, and now we're ready to test it out. And I'm looking right here, and I'm seeing on the Blofeld synthesizer that it is matching up. There we go. So now we've got, we're sending exclusive messages to the Blofeld and changing those parameters. And we can actually see on that list what those are. We're not quite done here yet. I'm looking over here at the monitor. And so mod amount, that's controller 75. So we want to come here and change the 72 to 75. And we can see right here in the we can see right here, nope, that it is working here as well. All right, so for consistency's sake, we're going to leave defaults at 0. But I'm going to check it here to make sure. I'm always pretty sure that it's going to work. I'm always pretty sure that it works, but it never hurts to just double check. Now, module 2 here, it goes 0 to 128, but it's one of those that it starts in the middle. So we're going to leave it alone for now. I'm not sure why that's there. Somehow I changed a name somewhere. That worries me a little bit because I'm afraid it's going to disappear forever. I want to check this. I'm going to properties. I'm going to take it off graph. Yeah, I don't like that. That's getting on my nerves. Let's things annoy me. Things like that annoy me. And we'll go back to graph on pair. There we go. Now we're back to normal. And we can close that. And yes, we absolutely do want to save it. All right, now go back here. Is that? No. Make sure I'm using the right version here. I'm in my backups. Demo. All right, it looked like I have something vanish on me, but I'm just having trouble remembering how I save things. So I'm back here and going to test. That's not what I wanted to do. I know that works. That's not what I was trying to do. Copy and paste. All right, here we go. We have a Blofeld module, and one with same thing but with a list for handling system exclusive. And now we want to take this and we want to turn it into that. All right, so how do we do that? Well, I'm going to come here and I'm going to duplicate that one. And replace it with 2. And I'm back here. And there it is. And so let's make some changes. And this is, we're going to call this mod source and mod amount. And for mod source, we're going to leave this off. And here we're going to, for the default, we're going to make that 64 so that it starts in the middle. There. So now here we go. We're changing the Blofeld, and we can see everything we need right here. And we can change that as needed. And it works perfectly. Next task is going to be filter 1, page 3. And so before we get started, what I want to do, I just don't like doing all this in PureData. I just have mixed results with it. I'll get something messed up. But this is the last thing that we worked on. Filter 1, page 3 is very similar to this filter 1-2. So I could either take this Blofeld module with list and I could copy it, or I can duplicate it, or I can just do that one. That was weird. Okay, so here we go. I've duplicated this one, and I want to rename it to 1_3. Now that'll reflect the page 3. This is where things get much easier and things go a lot faster. And I don't want to take a lot of time having to do these. And so that's why it's important right from the beginning to spend more time creating building blocks for things. So all I've got to do, and I just copied the file name, copy and paste it right here. And there it is, okay? And this is where it gets really simple. Just let's open this up. The usual things are here. Open. And we're going to change this to 1-3. Mod source, we're going to change that to FM source. And amount. I'm probably going to go back to filter 1-2 and fix this. I don't like that. It doesn't really need a label. I copied and pasted it from somewhere else. That's why it's like that. Okay. I'm pretty sure that FM amount, I'm going to want 0 to be my reset. Okay, pretty much the way it was pretty much the way it was before in the in just the generic template module. So I've got a couple of templates, and of course I can reuse these as I need to. So everything is set up for filter 3, and all I've got to do is come into this subpatch here and change the parameters. Okay, so I'm looking at my MIDI input monitor, and we're going to move the FM source. Okay, and so here's the code for the FM source, and all we got to do is paste that right here, and it's done. I mean, you see how fast that's going. Now, the time-consuming part is the next part, because it doesn't have the same parameters or the same source as filter mod. So we're going to go over here to FM source, and let's find out how many sources there are that it'll let us use. So starting with 0, which is off, let's dial it all the way as far as it'll go. Okay, so it does not go above 11. I just love it when they go to 11. And so I'm going to click here, and this should come up, and we'll just grab all of those and delete. And now we get to dial in, or we get to type in the sources. So here we go. And that's that. Just save it, close it, and yeah, I'm not even going to bother to really test it here. I'm just that confident of it. So we'll make that go away. And we'll make that also go away. I'm just double checking on something here. Yep, it's fine. Now I am going to test it here just to be sure. Oh, wait. That's going to be wrong. Right, that's going to be wrong. Open. This should be FM source upper should be 11. And nope. That should be 11. And this should be 11 also. And now I'm going to check it out. FM source. And it is not, neither one of these are working. And why is it not working? That's interesting. No. It sends. It's sending, but is it receiving? This is somehow incorrect. That's correct. But I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, that should be 76 and 91. Let me double check that. Yeah, it's 91. Okay. That should get it. Yep, there we go. Easy, easy, easy. Okay, so that will do it for our filter page one, filter one, page 3. And reset, reset. Excellent. There we go. Hey, this little Blofeld patch is starting to grow. All right, we've gotten to filter 1, page 3, and I'm looking at page 4, and there are a couple of parameters here. It's drive and drive curve. So we have something. It's the opposite of what we had before. Our here filter 1 3 you have FM source, which is a list of things and an amount. But now the list is actually here. Okay, so they've swapped places. So those are some things to keep in mind as we build this next patch. Do I want to just have drive curve here and drive, or do I want it organized more how it is on the Blofeld? I want to try to keep it more in line with what's on the Blofeld. So let's start here, and I'm going to do something. I want to start a new habit of when I copy these. I think it can get really confusing to bring the abstraction into the window, because when you save something, you don't know if you're saving the abstraction or if you're saving the PureData file. My skills are just not that impressive yet. But I want to go ahead and open this. And here it is in all of its glory. And I want to go ahead and start swapping some things around. Now, really, we only need to swap around visual things. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean we have to go in and That doesn't mean we have to go in and just change everything across the board. We're going to leave this as module 2, and that is module 1. The only thing that's going to change is just where it falls on the screen. So see, we're going to do it like that. Something like that. I think that looks fine. All right, and so this is going to be 2, and this is going to be 1. Let's go ahead and change our labels. FM. It's drive, and we're going to leave it at the default 0. Okay, and the reset buttons have not been switched either. So let's go ahead and swap those up. All right, now our resets are in the right spot. And now let's dive. No, this is good. This is done. We're done with this part. So we can close that. And here. Now let's get into some parameters. And our drive is controller 71. And that's in module 2. I don't see a point in flipping these around here. I could easily, but I don't really see the point. I'm not going to be looking at it for very long. So drive curve is right there. So we come in here. And just drop it right there. I was going to disconnect and reconnect. It's not a thing. Okay. The names are going to be different. Clipping, tube, hard, medium, soft, pickup 1, pickup 2, rectifier, square, binary, whatever. Okay. So let's go ahead and copy those into our list here. All right, that should be all of them. How many are there supposed to be? 12. In other words, 13 of them. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's all there. Save and close. and close, save, and while we're here, okay, let's take a look at this because I'm concerned. Yep. Nope. Wait. Oh, right. Okay. I got confused. No, because I haven't changed this yet. That's fine. So it should be 12. Slater 1 mod. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Let's fix this. Okay, good. That's still there. That makes me happy. Now let's make it like that. All right. Let's take a look at this again. And I'm looking for that same thing to happen, to run out of room for our text here. Okay. That's fine. It's going to work. And then width. Good. That works. Leave our resets at 0. I like that. Okay, 0 and clipping here, just the way it should be. Now, that's drive, and I need to fix this. Shouldn't say FM source, it should say drive curve. Yeah. Nothing to it. Easy breezy. Just one more test. Everything matches up. Save. And quit. All right, now it's not here, right? Why is it not here? Because we haven't put it there yet. Copy. Object. Paste. Ooh, I didn't see that before. All right. Let's fix that. And I'm fixing everything by loading this as a file kind of all by its lonesome. I'm not opening it inside the main patch yet. And filter 1, 4. All right, now let's try that again. Okay, that's kind of inconsistent right there, I think. So what I want to do, because I want to I want to always be safe. I'm going to open it this way. There. Yeah, it accidentally got dragged somewhere. And yes, 100 times, 1,000 times, save it. And that's doing something weird here. All right, try again. I really have no idea what happened. Open. Whatever it was, it didn't like what I did. Oh, I see what I did. All right, that's fine the way that is. This is not fine the way it is. All right, I'm not sure this will work. Ah, it does work. It does work and it is beautiful. Okay. So, yes, it's a good idea if you're going to edit a sub patch to not edit it from here. Always edit it from over here as its own file. And that gets you filter 1 page 4. Okay, at this point, this should be getting really repetitive, easy to figure out. Just take a parameter that you like and duplicate it and just keep rolling. Looking at the next 2 pages. All right, page 5 is panning, and it's just panning right to left. Page 6 is pan source and pan amount. So we're looking at something similar to filter 1.1 and filter 1.2 in terms of how this is all laid out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to grab filter 1.1, duplicate that, and let's rename it 1.5. And I'm going to just go ahead and do the same thing with filter 1.2. And that will be 1.6. Okay, why am I doing it that way? Well, if you look at page 6, you have a pan source, and presumably you'll have a list of things there, and then a pan, and then a mod amount here. Well, you have a panning amount, so it's laid out pretty much the same way, and that's what we're going to go with. So let's start with editing 1.5. And page 5 only has one parameter. So we can actually completely get rid of this. I see something here I want to fix, but I will do that later. And because I don't really want to take any chances, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. No point in having it. No, there's no point in having something somewhere that's not really doing anything. And I don't mind this being here either. So now we just got to work on some settings here. So 64, of course, for reset. And what is the controller for that? 77. Boom. Done. Done. And I don't think there's anything left to do here. Easy, easy, easy. While it's on my... Hang on a second. No, I'm not going to do that. It's trying to get me to do... Oh, no, it works just fine, actually. Interesting. It's annoying me. Okay, no, this is fine, but I noticed when I opened filter 1.1 up over here, I was getting the same thing as this. So that kind of worried me a little bit. I didn't understand why that happened. Okay, and I'm actually not going to import this into the patch here. I'm going to leave it alone for the time being. I'm eager to get to this right here. Now, this one is interesting because if you go to page 6, okay, you do have a source. And I want to get rid of that. Yeah, I want to go back and I'm going to just look for some nitpicky things like that, things that just kind of got stuck in there. You can always go back and revise things, and that'll be perfectly okay. So this is good to go, and we're going to call it. Oh, open properties, and this time it's going to be pan source and pan amount. Okay, our GUI is good to go, and now we've got to adjust some parameters here. And we're looking at the input monitor. It's acting ugly. And we're going to drop that here. And make sure we change that to $1. And let's see. Let's take a look at our monitor again. I suspect something's going on here. It's got exactly the same. It's got exactly the same number of pan sources as mod sources. Are they the same though? Let's find out. So there are 30 slots. So off. Yeah, so far they're all looking the same. Yeah, so far they're all matching. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can confirm that this list, it's exactly the same as the other. So I'm going to leave that alone. There's nothing left to do here. Um, pan them out. Let's take a look at these parameters again. Pan them out is, yeah, controller 78. And that should be everything. Okay, so if I want to bring these in here, create an object, copy and paste, copy and paste. All right. And that's it. So now we've got all of filter one completely ready to go. You can program your filter one entirely from PureData. And that's it. Now, if we're going to go, let's go ahead and get filter two. We'll get filter two later. But at this point, you have an idea of what programming PureData to run the Blofeld, what it's going to be like. And it's that easy, now. And it's only easy because we've got a complete suite of tools to help us do that. This Canvas designer that we can use to make custom GUI elements, input monitor, so that we can see, what everything is to, we know what information to put over here. We got a list of we've got a list of things, sources for like panning and modulation and drive curve, FM sources. We've got everything. This is true to the Blofeld. Still a long way to go before this is really complete, and I'm going to be busy double checking some things to make sure that everything is right where I want it to be. But this is a good start, and I think I may do a little work on setting this up a little bit better. Like, I think, like, for these kinds of things where there are several pages of settings on the Blofeld, there's so many different menus pages. Probably laying this out horizontally instead of this way would be a better move. So in other words, 1, 2, 3. And then 4. Not done yet. Let's just push it down here. Just for example, 3, 4, 5. Well, we're just shy of that 6th one. So, maybe we could do something like this. Right? Let's straighten this up a little bit. You can have something like this just to start with, and of course you can subpatch this, or you can turn it into an abstraction. Either way doesn't really matter. It's your patch, but you could pack that into an abstraction, or you could make it into a subpatch. So this is where I'm going to stop for right now. The next video, I'm going to finish it out with. I'm going to finish this out with settings for filter 2, and it looks to me that filter 2 is identical to filter 1, and so all we got to do to get filter 2 is change this to filter 2, blah 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 blah. All right, change them all to filter 2, and then we got to look in and see how to match this up right here. It's just changing a few numbers is what it really comes down to. So I'll make another video to show, how to get filter 2. And once we get done with filter 2, There's some other things. We've got filter routing, and it's filter routing parallel or serial. And just keep on going. And then the controls for the filter, cutoff, resonance, filter type, and envelope amount. We've got that left to go. So we're not quite there yet. So the next video is going to completely finish all of the filter settings. And that's all I've got. Hope you enjoy the video.